What makes Unai Emery the right man to take this club forward?
First, good afternoon, everybody.
Big breaking news.
Yeah, Martin O'Neill has resigned as manager of Aston Villa with immediate effect.
O'Neill led Villa to 3 consecutive sixth-place finishes, but a dispute over the sale of James Milner resulted in him leaving the club just days before the start of the 2010-11 season. The departure was the domino of a troubling decade. Former Liverpool boss Gerrard Houllier replaced O'Neill. He was a walking PR disaster, reoccurring conflict with his own players, bizarre quotes to the media, alongside the uninspiring results and dull performances. He stepped back from his role with 4 games remaining of the season due to health issues. Villa sneaked into 9th place with back-to-back wins against Liverpool and Arsenal in the final 2 fixtures, but overall it was a huge step backwards.
He was manager for Birmingham City, and we just don't want a blue nose as our manager.
Aston Villa, we're not Blues. We don't rejects from there. He took them down. We want to stay in the top flight.
Owner Randy Lerner's relationship with the Villa fans continued to hit new lows, hiring Alex McLeish from rivals Birmingham and selling star players Ashley Young and Stuart Downing without replenishing the squad with sufficient quality.
Probably the biggest thing we wasted talent, $9.5 million, and we've barely seen anything from him.
Villa narrowly avoided relegation, finishing just 2 points above 18th placed Bolton Wanderers. McLeish was sacked just under a year after his appointment. Paul Lambert was the next man in the Villa Park hot seat. It was a turbulent debut season in charge as they flirted with relegation, but the development of youth and the signing of Christian Benteke brought optimism for the future. But the 2013-14 season was bitterly disappointing. Villa, who were part of the inaugural Premier League season, were sleepwalking towards relegation, avoiding the drop by just 5 points. Randy Lerner put the club up for sale at the end of the season. Villa continued to fail in the transfer market and entered their 5th consecutive relegation battle.
Aston Villa's long-suffering fans finally lost patience last night, unfurling a banner calling for the manager to go during their latest defeat.
Shocking. Lerner needs to clear off. He needs to take Lambert with him.
Is that a performance that says relegation to you?
Yeah. We're going down. We're going down. So that's the end of it.
It was 5 defeats on the spin in February that would cost Lambert his job as Villa entered the relegation zone.
It's an honour to be the manager of Aston Villa. Just to play with a little more freedom, get the shackles off. You're going to win games, you're going to lose games between now and the end of the season. Let's have a go fighting, start throwing a few punches ourselves. We're in a difficult situation at the moment, there's no getting away from that. I need to get the best out of this group of players to try and get enough wins to keep us in this division.
Sherwood brought fight back to the Aston Villa side. 5 wins from the remaining 10 fixtures was just enough to beat Hull City to Premier League survival. An exciting FA Cup run to the final brought hope that Villa had left their rebuilding stage and could push on back to competing in Europe.
And they decided to get rid of Benteke, who was key for me. Fabian Delph, Tom Cleverley, Westwood. They decided to move these players on. Ron Vlaar.
Aston Villa are searching for a new manager after they sacked Tim Sherwood. He'd been in charge for just 8 months. The club is currently bottom of the Premier League table, following 6 straight defeats.
This has been going on for quite some time at Aston Villa. They've been in a relegation battle for year after year after year, and they've just about got away with it.
Sky Sports News HQ understands that they will name Remy Garde as their new manager on a 3.5-year deal.
The manager there, Remy Garde, he's saying you need talent as well. We haven't got the talent and we've not got the commitment and the spirit and the attitude. Well, I mean, that's a major problem. If a manager's saying that, how's he going to get a response from players?
They just look like they're defeated.
After 24 years of Premier League football, Villa became a circus and a laughingstock, resulting in relegation. Picking up just 3 wins and 17 points, 22 behind 17th placed Sunderland, and one of the worst teams in the league's history.
I've conducted my own review. You sell Benteke, Delph and Wyman, you don't replace Cleverley, you let Ron Vlaar go, you buy a clutch of French players that nobody's ever heard of, you sack the coach and replace him with someone with no Premier League experience, you get relegated. There you go.
No club is too big to go down, and Villa certainly have no divine right to come back up in one season.
Yeah, it's been coming for a few years, I think. A lack of investment in players, and it's not a surprise for me this season, really.
A 39-year-old Chinese tycoon, Tony Xia Jiantong, has just agreed to buy the Birmingham-based Aston Villa.
Is your ambition to get back to the Premier League?
Yes.
Villa struggled in their first season in the Championship. Their big signings didn't deliver. Roberto Di Matteo was sacked after one win in the opening 11 matches. Promotion specialist Steve Bruce could only guide them to a mid-table finish, and a playoff final defeat the following season was as far as Bruce could take them. Tony Shea sold his majority stake in the club after failing to pay a tax bill that nearly put the club into administration. Shea has since been the subject of an Al Jazeera money laundering documentary and since been arrested in China.
Tony Shea was very charming when I first met him, but it went to his head. And I'm not sure how much was fact with him either.
Nassif Sawiris and Wed Edens took control of the club, hiring former Liverpool executive Christian Purslow as CEO and Dean Smith as manager. Villa went on a club record 10-game winning run, en route to the playoffs, eventually beating Frank Lampard's Derby County 1-0 in the final.
That's it! The fallen giants are back on their feet! Aston Villa, one of the great clubs in English football, return to the elite.
The cloud over Villa Park was suddenly lifted. Aston Villa continuously invested heavily into the playing squad upon their return. Jack Grealish became a Premier League star, but Villa was struggling. They were in freefall. 4 defeats in a row saw them drop into the bottom.
The coronavirus is the biggest threat this country has faced for decades. From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
The lockdown halted their downwards momentum. They started to pick up points after the restart to give them a chance of staying up. A huge 1-0 victory over Arsenal saw Villa head into the final day in the driving seat, and their Premier League future went right to the wire.
Finding Grealish. Grealish! Wow! Wow! Stunning! Scintillating! Deflection! Oh, it's in! It's 1-1 straight away! Another dramatic twist and turn! Safety assured. Just waiting now for confirmation.
And there it is. There is the confirmation that Aston Villa are in the Premier League for another season. After 34 games of this 38-game season, they were going down.
The 2021-22 season saw improvement under Smith, finishing 11th. A 7-2 win over Liverpool was the highlight of the season. Villa also completed a double over Arsenal, and wins over Tottenham and Chelsea brought hope for more progression heading into 2021-22. The sale of club captain Jack Grealish for £100 million thwarted their progression. They reinvested the Grealish cash, but none of the new players were able to hit the ground running, and after 2 steps forward, they took a step back.
We've got some breaking news for you from the Premier League because there has been another sacking in the last few minutes. Dean Smith has gone from Aston Villa.
OK, here we go. We've got breaking news. Aston Villa appoints Steven Gerrard, it says.
Gerrard guided Villa to a stable mid-table finish and helped attract star players in the transfer market, but were producing mediocre results and performances despite having superb talent at his disposal.
First this evening, less than 90 minutes after the full-time whistle sounded at Craven Cottage, Aston Villa have sacked Steven Gerrard.
Unai Emery is back in the Premier League. Aston Villa moved swiftly last night to appoint the former Arsenal manager to replace Steven Gerrard.
Emery guided Villa from 13th to a 7th place finish, seeing only 2 defeats in the final 15 fixtures. But how did he turn it around? Quality coaching, astute tactics, and the transfer market are the big 3 factors that have changed Villa from relegation battling to title contending. Ollie Watkins had just 2 goals to his name in the 2022-23 season prior to the Spaniard's appointment. The ex-Brentford striker finished the league campaign with 15 goals, and he puts that down to Emery, who has changed his mindset, assigning him to watch footage of elite strikers' movement, instructing to make runs toward the box rather than drift into wide areas, and simply instilling confidence into Watkins that has seen him return to the England squad while scoring 8 goals and providing 8 assists in 16 appearances this season. His ability to deliver detailed analysis while also simplifying the game for his players has seen John McGinn back to his best form. Leon Bailey contributing with consistent goals and assists, Ezri Konsa gain an England call-up, and Pau Torres and Moussa Diaby's transition to the league seamless. Emery's style cannot be defined by a tactical buzzword. They are incredibly versatile in their setup. Adapting their approach depending on the opponent has made it incredibly difficult for the opposition to prepare for them. The ex-Sevilla coach is a deep analyzer of the game. He studies hours of footage of the opposition, whether it's a round 3 League Cup tie or a top 4 clash. He will be equally prepared and deliver that message in the best way to his players. The defence is working in great harmony, leading the league in catching the opposition offside by a considerable margin, and top 5 in allowing the least amount of shots. Their defensive approach doesn't come without risk, but very rarely have they been seen to get it wrong this season. A key strength of this Villa side is their ability to bait in the opposition press to create transition opportunities that lead to mismatches and high-quality chances, playing into their strengths of their athletic attack. Their performance in the transfer market has been exceptional, spending their funds wisely on quality talent, signing Moussa Diaby for around £50 million. It cost just £33 million to acquire Spanish international Pau Torres, while securing Yuri Tielemans on a free transfer. They signed what they needed for reasonable prices, while also making use of the loan market, signing talented Italian Nicolo Zaniolo and Clement Lenglet. Victories of league leaders Arsenal and last season's treble winners Manchester City have propelled Villa into the title race. A comeback victory away to Brentford will only help their case, showing great spirit to fight back. There is no doubt that Aston Villa are here to stay at the top end of the Premier League table and competing in Europe. But can the 7-time First Division winners make the leap and claim their first Premier League title? Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more content if you are football addicted.